So now Oğuzcan Bey, in this challenging period where the resources are so scarce and environmental risks are so high, achieving a circular economy is getting much more critical. The further development and the cooperation on durability, recycled content, and recyclability is needed worldwide to contribute to a circular economy. I believe that there are challenges also in your sector. Can you please elaborate on what kind of practices do you carry on in the terms of developing new technologies and solutions that use natural resources responsibly during production and develop products that include more recycled and alternative raw materials with a high recyclability rate?
Fatih Bey, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with my fellow panelists. My name is Oğuzcan Bu. I am, as Fatih Bey mentioned, Sustainability Director of Abdi Ibrahim. Abdi Ibrahim is a market leader pharmaceutical company in Turkey since 2002. And it's now a third generation, ruled by third generation pharmacists. So we are also a heavy believer of sustainability and the competitive advantage that the green transformation brings, like Çağatay Bey mentioned. Today I'm going to briefly mention about our packaging strategy. It is called Green Harmonization, and it's an extensive and comprehensive packaging strategy of Abdi Ibrahim. And the main aim of this strategy is to reduce, switch, and recollect, and this so it consists of three sub stages. And the first stage is the smart software. It is a university and industry collaboration, and we already complete the software, by the way. And the main aim of the software is to reduce our primary and secondary packagings inside the medicines. It is one of maybe one of the first software in world pharma industry. Of course, there are lots of optimization algorithms around the world, but this algorithm is specifically aimed to curb our carbon emissions. Therefore, we started coding this algorithm and enter every single aspect and specs of the production line. So, as you can imagine, the algorithm becomes larger and bigger every day. And then we decided to divide the algorithm into two. So one is the mathematical model, and the other one is heuristic model. So those two models checks each other's results. And we run this program. As I said, we completed this program. We run this program for 36 products of Abdi Ibrahim. And it's roughly 100 million packs. It's equal to 100 million packs. And the artificial intelligence not only provides 1 million euros of cost saving from the materials, but also 6 weeks of released capacity. If you can imagine how big the carbon emissions from 6 weeks of released capacity, that would be enormous for us. So, and then we would like to also do this for our whole portfolio. And we are in a stage of suggesting this program and the results to our other customers as well. So this is the first stage, so reduce stage. And the switch state is another industry university collaboration we are making with Sabancı University. And we are trying to develop a biodegradable polymer. Luckily we have just completed the production of the first prototype. I have it with me. We are going to start, of course, in the consumer health products, because consumer health products, as you can imagine, the boxes we need to tick is fewer than the medicine itself. So we would like to switch the plastic and PVC in the tubes and the packs of the vitamins we produce. And then if everything goes well, we are, of course, would like to move to the blisters where the real carbon volume lies. And as the third step, to recollect, that is going to be the most hardest one, because, because of the classification of the waste of pharmaceutical industry, all around the world, by the way, not only in Turkey, it is hazardous waste. So we need to incinerate the waste. So there we need a regulation change, actually. What we dream is we would like to initiate a nationwide campaign, recollection campaign, and then once we recollect the expired products or used and finished products, so the primary and the secondary packaging, we would like to bring them to a separation facility where we can separate the medicine and the valuable primary and secondary packagings, because there are aluminums, there are PVC, there are plastics, there are glass, so there are all valuable materials. Now we incinerate them, but hopefully in the future we separate them from the medicine. And for the medicine, I'm sorry, but the only way to destroy the medicine, quote unquote, eco-friendly way is to incinerate. For now, maybe in the future we will find another way of doing it, but for now we need to incinerate. But for the other parts, we can always separate them, and we can create raw or semi-raw material for other industries. So that's basically our packaging strategy, Fatih Bey.
Thank you very much. So now the Nevra Hanım, an effective and sustainable management of the supply chain, is also strategic for the transformation of the whole ecosystem. The new legislation, such as EU's corporate sustainability due diligence, German supply chain law, will push companies to examine their supply chain in more detail in terms of human rights and environment in the coming period. As Kordsa, what kind of practices are you conducting for supply chain evaluation and integrating your suppliers into the commitment and target defining processes? Please.
Thank you, Fatih Bey. And first of all, I would like to also thank you, all of you. This is a great platform to sharing information and experience that we have done. So thank you again. Just before replying to the question, in fact, just a quick summary of the Kordsa. We are a company, a part of Sabancı Holding, which is one of the biggest holding company in Turkey. And Kordsa, we have 13 facilities in 5 countries: Turkey, Indonesia, Thailand, USA, and Brazil. And we have 3 main business lines: tire reinforcement, composite, and construction. And by its DNA, in fact, our products lightening the vehicles, the aerospace, or the automotive industry. And at our tire businesses, we are producing tire cord fabrics, and globally, we have today our tire reinforcement technologies. We reinforce 1 out of every 3 automotive tires, and 2 out of every 3 aircraft tires worldwide. So coming to the question, we are managing sustainability efforts under 4 main pillars: social, sustainable product, responsible supply chain, and responsible production. So under social, we are managing our social effect generally on society and business ethics, as well as our sustainable employment issues. For sustainable product, this is the main outcome of our performance. So we are managing a transformation of our product portfolio from conventional to bio-based, recycled, or renewable material-based. And we have 62 sustainable products in our all product portfolio. It is important because our industry is very traditional, and the conventional products are mainly the main preferences. So we depend on the regulations in the EU or the US regulations. So this kind of product range is very important for us. 12% of our revenue is derived from these sustainable products. And we use United Nations taxonomy methodology. Mitigation, enabler, transition, and positive social impacts are the 4 dimensions that we use as a categorization of our product portfolio. And under responsible production, we are mainly managing decarbonization roadmap of all our facilities and of all our products, as well as waste and water reduction projects. And to going a little bit deeper on this sustainable, responsible supply chain, we have started this program in 2020. And at the beginning, we decided our supplier code of conduct, which clearly defines our expectations from our suppliers in a global wise. So after that, we made a supplier mapping based on Kirliliği matrix. This is something spend analysis depend on the Kortsa's global purchasing. And it was important because we got the data that 20% of our suppliers are the main and the most critical ones. They have the most emission impact on our final product. So we began the concentration, our program, to this 20% of our critical raw material suppliers. But sure that we asked of all our suppliers to sign this Kortsa supplier code of conduct. Apart that, every year we are running sustainability audits to our critical raw material suppliers, and also we are using EcoVadis as an evaluation tool, ESG evaluation tool, and it gives us the opportunity to understand our customers' suppliers' performance in labor and human rights, environment, business ethics, and sustainable procurement as well. So also we are conducting a sustainability survey. This is a self-assessment, but also it gives us the opportunity to our suppliers to understand their achievement and their situation there. So with all of this in our pockets, we are making some review analysis quarterly with our suppliers working groups. It's important because we give also feedbacks to our suppliers, and we ask them to come up with some projects to define their improvements on that road. And finally, emission part is very crucial for us. Since 2020, we are calculating our Scope 3 emissions based on also our suppliers' effect on emissions, and we are getting audited by a third-party auditor these GHG emissions. And now we made our commitment science-based target initiatives for Scope 1, 2, and 3 as well. And now we are asking also our suppliers to engage with these science-based target initiatives to provide low-carbon products to Kortsa, not also Kortsa, but to all of the ecosystem. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Nevra Hanım. Now, in the second round of our panel, I'd like to start with the Nevra Hanım again. My question will be the same for all the panelists. My question is, Nevra Hanım, you know, the green transition requires all stakeholders work together in synergy. In order to be successful in the green transition process, which efforts should be carried out by stakeholders in the coming period? And which actors will be responsible for these efforts? Please.
Thank you, Fatih Bey, again. At Kortsa, we have set our science-based target initiatives. So for all of this decarbonization roadmap, not only decarbonization, but all of the aspects of the sustainability, firstly, we have to define this strategy, and we have to involve our stakeholders at this journey and ask their needs and the way that they can also join to that road, their needs and improvement plans. So at Kortsa, we have a target to be a net zero company at least by 2050. And we have interim targets as well. At 2030, we would like to obtain a decrease by 46.2. And for that, now we are making so many investments for this decarbonization, not only the production level, but also at the raw material level, as well as the trainings to all our stakeholders inside and outside. And renewable energy is very crucial for that. So we have done our investment to Indonesia plant. Now we are working for our Chattanooga, USA plant, as well as Thailand plant. And for at our Turkey, we are using IREX certificates, but this is not sufficient to achieve these targets. We have to make invite and join all the stakeholders, the customers, the employers, and as well as the suppliers, because this is a journey to go all together. If we will stay alone, it won't be easy to make a big impact on this whole value chain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oğuzcan Bey?
Fatih Bey, pharmaceutical industry is a little bit different from the other industries, since our main, one of the main stakeholders is government, of course, like globally, all around the world. So I can give you 3 small examples that will show us, the support we need from the governmental side as well. So the first one is, as I mentioned in the first round, for the recycling, for the circularity of pharmaceutical industry. Now it's close to zero almost. And unfortunately, this is the case in Europe and in the US as well. We all incinerate the waste. So there is a huge regulatory touch we need there. Therefore, in the medium term, with the positive support of Paris Agreement and everything's going on right now, hopefully we might see a window of opportunity to physically separate the waste of medicine. So the other example is that another project we are working on is the leaflets. The leaflets in the boxes of the medicine. In this industry, we use we produce 2.5 billion packs of medicine every year in Turkey, only in Turkey. So that means more or less A4 size paper, 2.5 billion sheets of A4 size paper. That is, if you put them on top of each other, it will make a 6-kilometer high tower every year, only in Turkey. Now you can multiply this to see the world, what's going on around the world. Therefore, we are trying to take advantage of the digitalization efforts in Turkey. So we would like to put the information on the leaflet inside the QR code on the boxes. And then we approach the ministry, of course, and we are still in negotiation. But as far as I can say, they are not very positive about putting the leaflets into the QR code yet. But hopefully, maybe in the near future, we can also do it. Not only for the carbon, it will save around 4,000 tons of carbon equivalent, by the way. It's a huge amount. But also, it's the only carbon emissions from the production of this paper. And if you take into account the trees we save, that will multiply the effect, of course. And the last example I can give, and unfortunately our stakeholder is again the Ministry of Health, is we try to remove the spoons and the drinking cups inside the syrups. These are all unuser-friendly items, as you may all know. Once you use it, it becomes gluier and stickier. Every time it sticks to the box or something like that. So we try to remove the plastics from the syrups. And now we are also negotiating with the TÜSİAD. They are our main regulatory authority, along with the Ministry of Health, of course. So there are lots of similar examples I can give, but the main idea is, to this end, we all need, as SDG 17, we need collaboration. We need to do. We can do it only together. So there are lots of regulatory touches we need in pharmaceuticals industry. Hopefully, in the medium term, we'd like to see some. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Çağatay Bey, please.
Thanks a lot, Fatih Bey. Like you said, our largest stakeholder is the public. So energy market is where, first of all, is a big income for the public funds. So there's a lot of taxation on it. So there's a big dilemma how we're going to replace that tax if we go from fuel sources, fossil fuels, to electricity, to hydrogen, etc. Because that electricity and hydrogen is already very expensive. So in order to make them more viable solutions, there needs to be certain advantages from the taxation perspective as well. So that is one of the major discussions we need to engage with the public authorities. And the second one is the infrastructure, because the energy requires, once you produce it, you need to transfer it to the consumers, and it can be bulk, it can be residential, it can be retail, but you need to get a lot of permissions from the government. For example, I can start with hydrogen. Hydrogen requires special pipelines. So those special pipelines, and as Turkey, we have a great renewable potential that we can convert it to hydrogen and export it to Europe, because Europe is going to be in deficit. But the best way to do this is through pipelines. And in Turkey, pipelines can only be done by the public authorities. So unless the government decides to lay down the pipes, you cannot export that hydrogen you produce here in Turkey, and you cannot bring in valuable dollars and euros to our economy. So that infrastructure part requires a lot of public partnership or public intervention. And coming back to other stakeholders, for example, we are a large manufacturer, but retail is the specialty of other companies. For example, in our group, we have companies like Opet, we have iGaz. They are specialized in the micro distribution of it, or retail part of it. So they are going to need to invest in new types of dispensers and fueling stations and everything. We are also going to need other companies like Arçelik, Fatih Bey, coming up with new equipment working with hydrogen, new boilers working with hydrogen. So this energy transition that we are trying to be a major part is not something that we can do alone. We need everyone, starting with the public and ending with the consumers, because if the consumers insist on consuming the fossil fuels, we need to supply this, because we need to make sure it's the security. And the current crisis showed us, everyone, reminded again, this transition needs to be done in a more balanced way, because if you don't do it in a balanced fashion and carefully, it's going to be the consumers who's going to pay the price. It's going to be the pump price. It's going to be the electricity price. It's going to be the gas price that we're going to jump, and the consumer's going to suffer. And if this, for example, in Europe or in other countries, even in our country, there are support schemes to subsidize these high energy prices at the moment, but this cannot go forever. I mean, the governments can only do this for a year, maybe two, but if the transition is not done in a proper fashion, we're all going to suffer. So this is what we're trying to avoid, and this is what we're trying to make sure this collaboration is done together with everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. It's really critical. Now, before my closing note, Seda Hanım, please, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Fatih Bey. I will echo a bit of what the other panelists have already mentioned. So, but all the sustainability issues require multi-stakeholder efforts. And for when we were preparing the 2030 pledge, we actually conducted multiple stakeholder dialogue workshops in multiple countries and listened to their feedback before determining the targets. And then from the regulatory perspective, it's important to involve the private sector and the business interest groups within the decision-making process. again, for the beverage industry, one of the big issues is the waste management and addressing the tackling the waste pollution. So, but it's an issue bigger than one company, and it involves a diverse group of stakeholders, including the beverage industry, the customers, consumers, recyclers, and the regulatory bodies. It's important to incentivize the private sector for sustainable practices as well. And when establishing systems, transparency is key to measuring the actual impact measurement. For instance, as CCI, we have been reporting our ESG data since 2009 on annual basis through annual reports. And also we are a public company and we report to the reputable ESG platforms such as CDP. We are listed on the Istanbul Stock Exchange Sustainability Index and MSCI and FTSE4Good and S&P Global. And those help with our credibility and improving our performance as well. And lastly, like for the companies, they have a big responsibility for transformation. Addressing Scope 3 emissions is very important. So transforming both the upstream and the downstream value chain is critical. Identifying opportunities for circularity is very important. And also making use of digitalization. For instance, in Turkey, in some of our plants, we have already started the digital twin application, which helps save electricity, water, save chemicals, and also includes cost savings as well. So it's both for the environment and the business. It's good for in both ways. And finally, I think evaluating and investigating partnerships with startups for NGOs is another thing that companies should be evaluating. And lastly, I would be linking it to my beginning point in as a response to your first question. Sustainable financial instruments such as sustainability linked bond and green bond, they can be considered to accelerate the green transition. Thank you.
Hanım, thank you very much. It was a really excellent panel. In the step of the conclusion, as the representative of the Turkey, the private sector, we have managed to take some exemplary steps through the green transition, regardless of some the challenge. However, we know that there are so many opportunities, and we all perceive this transition at the core of our businesses. This was all from our end. Hope you all had a fruitful panel, and we achieved to give some perspectives about our journey and our approach to sustainability. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Çok teşekkürler arkadaşlar.
Ses. Merhabalar, hoş geldiniz. Sesimi rahatlıkla duyabiliyor musunuz? Ben teknikten Şükrü.
Çok iyi geliyor. Teşekkürler.
Özel Hanım. Sadiye Hanım, sizi de bir konuşturabilir miyiz? Bir iki kelime.
Merhaba, sesim geliyor mu?
Evet, sizin de sesiniz güzel geliyor. Gayet. Biz de rahat duyabiliyorsanız birazdan konuklarımızı oturtturacağım. Ve başlayacaksınız. Biz size zaten moderasyon sizde. Başlama komutunu bildireceğiz. Konuşmadığınız sürelerde mikrofonunuzu da kapalı tutmanızı rica edebilir miyim? Size zahmet olmazsa.
Ses gelmedi, bir daha rica edeceğim.
Konuşmadığınız zamanlarda mikrofonunuzun kapalı kalmasını rica ediyorum. Tamam. Çok sağ olun. Teşekkür ederim.
Bir tane mi veriyorsun? Diğer konuşmacılar. Sizlere 2 round, online'da tek round. Aynen. Yani sizin bir tane global örneğinizi soracağım. Bir de sürdürülebilirlik.
Ben şey yapacağım.
Ses geliyor değil mi? Tamam, buradan başladık. Hello to everyone. Welcome. I would like to welcome to. I would like to say welcome to our distinguished guests. We have here physically Ebru Hanım and Oğuzcan Bey, and also online we have Sadiye Hanım and also Fezel Hanım. Thank you for your time and listening to us. So we know that plastic waste causes serious challenges such as harming natural life, polluting food chains, also in the seas. The production of plastics increases greenhouse emissions through the conversion process of fossil fuels as well. The increasing plastic waste is also seriously affecting the biodiversity of the world. It is obvious that Turkey needs concrete goals in the fight against plastic pollution and to move decisively towards these goals. The Business Plastic Initiative is an important achievement in the struggle. Business Plastic Initiative was founded in 2019 by WBCSD Turkey, Global Compact Turkey, and TÜSİAD, with the aim of accelerating efforts to address the plastic problem and to spread awareness on wider scale. Business Plastic Initiative is the first and only multiple stakeholders plastics initiative in Turkey that brings together the actors in the plastic value chain, the private sector, local governments, public authorities, investors, NGOs, academia, and citizens. Business Plastic Initiative is a 3 years from 2020 to 2023 voluntary collaboration platform that invites companies to disclose their commitments to plastic waste reduction by 2023. So far, we have 51 companies. They have announced their commitments to reduce plastic pollution by participating in the initiative. We have already 42 signatory companies who has committed already to reduce their plastic, around 44,000 tons of plastic by 2023. And this year we had a progress report we have announced very recently, and it looks like 41% of that target has been already realized. And they have already reduced their plastic 17,700 tons already. So what does that number mean? I would say in Turkey per person, the consumption is around 112 kilograms. With the commitments, with the amount of commitments made by our initiative member companies, we eliminate an amount equivalent to the plastic consumption of approximately 40,000 families. And if the 100% is going to be realized, then that number is going to mean will be equivalent to 100,000 families. It is not enough, but we expect the business world to switch to a business model with a circular economy focus and participate in these initiatives. Now I would like to give the floor to our panelists to listen their good practices of their companies and public's roadmap on the issue. The format will be, we have, as I said, 2 panelists who are attending physically, and we have 2 speakers online. I will be giving the floor to our online speakers for 7 to 10 minutes, but we are going to have 2 tours for our physically attending speakers. That's why I'm going to start with Sadiye Hanım. Sadiye Hanım, thank you for attending and being with us today. I hope that next year we will be able to see you also physically. So, you know that since 1950, which was the production of plastic was around 1.5 million tons, in 2020 it has reached 367 million tons. And also recycling rates are very low. That shows we are having a huge global plastic pollution. Besides that, reducing plastic pollution is one of the most important pillars when reducing the negative impacts of climate crisis. We follow up the development of plastic policy and plastic pollution prevention, especially in EU and also global level. Can we hear from you about Turkey's vision on plastic policy and plastic pollution prevention with new plastics economy approach and the work done so far by our ministry. Floor is yours, Zadiye Hanım.
Thank you very much, Ebru Hanım. It's a pleasure for me to meet with you in virtually. As you mentioned, plastic is a very important sector, and thank you for your very comprehensive question. I would like to start the answer from the most general framework. According to the data received from sector organizations, approximately 10.3 million tons of plastic products are produced annually in our country, and approximately 660,000 tons of plastic products are imported to Turkey, and approximately 2.6 million tons of plastic products are exported from our country. In 2021, around 1.4 million tons of plastic waste is recycled in our country. Within the scope of zero waste practices, it's aimed to increase this recovery amounts to 2.5 and 3 million tons, and accordingly to reduce the plastic waste and raw material import rates. About the plastic waste import, I would like to express that it's forbidden to import hazardous waste into Turkey, and non-hazardous waste can be imported by industrial facilities with recycling permits given by the ministry. Plastic wastes are imported only for recycling purposes, not for disposal purposes. And as you may see from the figures, plastics is a very important sector in our country. It's almost the same in Europe because we see this from the Circular Economy Action Plan. It's a key sector in European Union as well. And in recent years, we made additional legislative revisions in this field. With the ministerial circular implemented as of 2020, 50% quota application has been allocated for the recycling facilities which will import plastic waste to Turkey. Besides that, the import of mixed types of plastics is prohibited. And in addition, we regulated the financial guarantee obligation and also some additional technical and administrative requirements for the facilities to get a permit. Also, we have a waste tracking system in Turkey. It's for hazardous waste, but we widen this to plastic wastes. And we are tracking the plastic waste from customs to the recycling facilities. And also we have limited the contamination in this kind of waste with 1%. It's limited. And on the other hand, physical conditions have been improved in the facilities. These are the recent developments in the recycling sector. Regarding to the single-use plastics, we have a concrete step on this field, and we have started the charging of plastic bags in 2019, and approximately 65% reduction in the usage of plastic bags was achieved. And also we have prevented 550,000 tons of plastic waste from plastic bags. We have prevented this amount of plastic waste, and we would like to improve these studies in other types of single-use plastics. Regarding to circular economy, which will play a crucial role in achieving the Green Deal's aim of making related countries climate neutral by 2050, and can help driving in industrial innovation for a cleaner planet. Under the Green Deal action plan, as you know, Ministry of Trade has published our National Green Deal Action Plan in 2021, a specific action and goal defined to identify priority sectors within the framework of the circular economy and carrying out detailed impact and needs analysis. For this action, our ministry is assigned as responsible institution, and main output is preparation of needs and impact assessment reports for sectors. The priority sectors are textiles, plastics, construction, and manufacturing sectors. And we have started to prepare our national action plan on circular economy, and we are planning to finish these studies by 2023, next year. And also, a very crucial point about the recycled plastics is the technical criteria for the usage of recycled secondary raw materials will be also determined by next year within the scope of National Circular Economy Action Plan. About the legislation, we had an amendment in environmental law. That's a very giant step, let's say. In December 2020, the dissemination of zero waste and circular economy practices were included in the general principles regarding the protection, improvement, and prevention of pollution in Turkey. Also, mandatory usage of waste and recycled materials obtained from waste is regulated, and this regulation will greatly contribute to our country's circular economy vision in coming period. On the other hand, we have initiated our IPA-funded project, which is called Technical Assistance Project for the Evaluation of Turkey's Potential for Transition to a Circular Economy. It has been initiated in February, and it will last for 3 years. Within the scope of this project, we have some very important activities regarding plastic pollution, and I would like to give some information about these studies. Under the title of Evaluation of our country's compliance with EU plastic strategy, the current situation in our country will be reviewed and compared with EU plastic strategy requirements, and the requirements of the EU plastics strategy also require some regulatory changes, and also we need a regulatory impact assessment for single-use plastics. We will prepare this report, and also we will determine the roadmap for disposable plastics and marine litter. It will be prepared by also supported by a public survey on this issue. On the other hand, as you know, that at the latest meeting of UNEA, United Nations Environment Assembly, held in Nairobi in March 2022, a historic decision was taken to end plastic pollution. And the decision was taken to prepare an internationally binding agreement in 2 years. High-level representatives from countries have agreed for the first time ever to negotiate a legally binding global plastics agreement that covers all stages of plastics, from fossil fuel extraction to recycling and disposal. For this purpose, the INC, Intergovernmental Negotiation Committee, was established, and this committee will prepare a legally binding agreement to eliminate plastic waste, and this agreement will be prepared till 2024. And INC will hold its first meeting at the end of this month in Uruguay. And as Turkey We will follow closely and contribute to these negotiations. The documents will be negotiated during the meetings, INC meeting, are open to public, and the contributions from public sector, private sector, and academia, and also NGOs are welcomed. The agreement is thought to be the most crucial international multilateral environmental agreement since the Paris Climate Agreement. During these negotiations, every step of plastic life cycle will be discussed based in 3 strategic goals. And those goals are, first of all, limiting plastic consumption and production at sustainable levels, to create a circular economy for plastics, and ensuring the environmentally sound management and recycling of plastic waste. These strategic goals are quite in parallel with the 3 actions declared by Ellen MacArthur Foundation: eliminate, innovate, and circulate. I believe that the Business World Plastic Initiative created by Global Compact Network Türkiye, TÜSİAD, SKD Türkiye, will strongly support Turkey's position and contribute to the global efforts to take more concrete actions on prevent the plastic pollution. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sadi Hanım. It has been really very impressive. Actually, even we are we are so much focused on plastic, but even some of these initiatives I also did miss. So congratulations, and I hope that we will be able to realize all of them in the near future. So I will continue with Oğuzcan Bey. So because the gender equality, we try somehow to support also the men. So just the question, maybe Oğuzcan Bey, the Abdi Ibrahim has the goal of becoming a carbon neutral company by 2030. Within the scope of this goal, you have various ongoing projects within the company. We know that you are aiming to provide resource efficiency, reduce waste, and especially with your green harmonization projects, you are planning to do so many things. Can you tell us about the details of this project and your efforts regarding reducing plastic packaging waste? Thank you.
Hanım. Yes, Green Harmonization Project is the comprehensive packaging strategy of Abdi Ibrahim. And I'd like to make a brief presentation about this strategy. So actually we are having a sustainability strategy named HEAL 2030. And this strategy is based on ESG in line with the global view. And under the environmental part, the main and the roof target of Abdi Ibrahim is become carbon neutral by 2030. So we named our sustainability strategy as HEAL 2030. And under the environmental part, of course, there are lots of ongoing projects from large to small projects. And one of the most important one is the packaging strategy, Green Harmonization Project. The reason being why this is so important, because we are producing billions of packs. And the pharmaceutical industry, not only in Turkey, but globally uses lots of PVC, plastic, aluminum, and paper. Therefore, we created this comprehensive packaging strategy, and actually it consists of 3 sub-stages. As I mentioned earlier today, the first one, of course, is the smart software. Let me give you a little bit details about our software and open one example. So that's university and industry collaboration, and this is an algorithm. Actually, it's an optimization algorithm. I mean, there are lots of optimization algorithm, but this is unique in a way that this optimize and curb the carbon emissions of Abdi Ibrahim with the minimum investment requirements. So the main purpose function of the algorithm is curb the carbon emissions as much as you can while not require us to make lots of investment. So we started coding this algorithm, and it becomes larger and larger because there are millions of specs and specialties in pharmaceutical production. And then we divided the model into two, mathematical model and heuristic model. Both models check each other results and lay out an optimal solution for us. And then we completed the algorithm, by the way, and we run it. We run it for our own Abdi Ibrahim products, which is roughly 100 million packs per year. And then, well, the results were astonishing. We didn't even expect that much. Artificial intelligence actually not only merge some molds, we use molds to produce drugs, not only merge, eliminate some of them and require some investment, of course. It's not a zero investment project. But at the end of the day, it will give us 6 weeks of release capacity for only 100 million packs of products. So it's almost 25% of our products. Therefore, the gains are amazing from the capacity side, but also it will provide a 1 million per year material cost. Therefore, it will also decrease our carbon emissions. So let me share you with a couple of examples. So this is what the artificial intelligence suggests. I mean, you don't know of course, the original packs, but at least you can see from the blisters what it used to be, what is before and what is after. So this is all coming from artificial intelligence. We didn't intervene. So it will change the shapes of primary and secondary packages. As you can see, some of them becomes thinner but larger. Some of them becomes thicker but smaller. So at the end of the day, it will create lots of primary and secondary packaging saving, because especially the aluminum, which has the highest carbon emission potential for us. So at the end of the day, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we tried this for 36 products. As you can imagine, Abdi Ibrahim has more than 400 products. The results are very promising, and it's 1 million material cost and 6 weeks of release capacity. And also we are providing contracted manufacturing services for lots of global pharmaceutical companies, from Pfizer to Roche, you name it. So we are in the stage of offering them a more sustainable product with this project, maybe next month or maybe the early next year, because we are also their supplier. So, and globally they are in a competitive market, and most of them are in the indexes and in the, for example, Dow Jones indexes and reputable indexes. We hope they also like the idea. And then this is the first stage, and the second stage was the switch part. So this was the reduced part, and the second one is the switch part. I have the first prototype. I am having the privilege to hold the first prototype of our biodegradable plastic, vitamin plastic. This is a project we are ongoing. This is an ongoing project actually with Sabancı University. So we start with the tubes and caps of the vitamins, and then we hope to move on with the blisters, where we have the real carbon emission volume due to high amount and due to the PVC we use. And the last stage is recollection. Recollection is the hardest stage, because we need a regulatory change. As SKD'nin mentioned, pharmaceutical waste is hazardous, and now we have to incinerate it. But we also lose lots of valuable material. So in the near future, with the positive impact of Paris Climate Agreement or the Green Deal, we hope to physically separate the pharma waste, at least not the medicine, because medicine needs to be incinerated. That's the most eco-friendly way of destroying the medicine. But at least we can save the PVC, aluminum, paper, and plastic. So that's all for now.
Thank you, thank you. It's amazing. So we are on track, and we'll see that you will be also going to manufacture for the other companies. That's also big potential to make a huge impact. So let me continue with Ebru Hanım. Ebru Hanım. So yesterday on the panel we had again two Ebrus. So I'm not going to attend any panel which doesn't have any Ebru. So thank you for being here. So Koç Group is the largest industrial and services group in terms of revenues, export, number of employees, and market capitalization. There are more than 110,000 employees in the group, and Koç Holding is one of the founding companies of the Business Plastics Initiatives and hosted the launch event in November 2019. And you had the seventh continent, which was also, you were the sponsor of the Istanbul Biennale. We know that's a holding company operating in multiple sectors, providing a consolidated plastic reduction target. And it's a really unique, and also it's a very difficult targets you have. So could you please share your experiences with us? Is it going to be easy? Is it going to be tough? How do you see the near future with Koç Group regarding reducing plastics?
Thank you, Ebru Hanım. First of all, I want to congratulate everyone in the Global Compact Turkey team, WBCSD Turkey team, and the TÜSİAD team for maintaining the momentum of what we started back in 2019, as you mentioned. And it is very encouraging that now there are more than 50 companies working on tangible targets. I'm sure there will be a lot of impact as a result of those targets, positive impact. As Koç Group, of course, our objective is to eliminate waste at source. But if we cannot do that, then reduce our waste by recycling or reusing. You have mentioned we are operational in different sectors with different dynamics in energy, automotives, consumer durables, food, retail, different sectors. When we set out to set a target on plastics, it was a challenge, as you mentioned, because of these different dynamics. And because we observe that our group companies have different approaches to setting commitments on plastic. Also, their footprint is different related to, their impact is different related to plastics. So after careful consideration, we decided to take a hybrid approach. Which means we encouraged our group companies to set their own targets related to their impact, the best way to reduce their impact. But as a group, as a consolidated target, we decided to give our target on eliminating single-use plastics by 2023, March 2023, in line with the IPG initiative. However, that was in 2019, and in 2020, COVID-19 hit. This was, of course, a big pushback for us because it had implications on people's health and safety, on business continuity. So there was some challenges related to especially single-use plastics because of the hygiene and EHS issues. But as we see now, the restrictions are not there anymore at that level. So we are hopeful that we are going to hit the target. We don't have much time left, but we are in a good position now. I also want to give examples or mention two of our group companies, because not only Koç Holding, but two of our group companies also became signatories of IPG. One of them is Divan. Divan, as you know, is in the food and tourism sector. They already reached 80% of their target, so they are in a good condition to reach the target. The other company is Arçelik. Arçelik is in consumer durables sector. And actually, we are very proud. They succeeded to achieve the highest reduction in the initiative with, let me read it, 7,250 tons. So congratulations to Arçelik team. I want to stop here, but I want to invite everyone to check our sustainability report to see the best practices and where we are in terms of commitments also in our other companies. Thank you. Thank you, Ebru Hanım. Really, Arçelik is very impressive. But of course, the lasting goods is the sector is very impressive as well. But I've read the report as well, and they have decreased the sizes of packaging. They've done so much. So it did not happen only in one aspect. It did on many aspects. I think that was also very impressive, and I hope that it will be also a good example for other companies. Congratulations again to Arçelik. So Fezel Hanım, Yıldız Holding is one of the signatories which has also high recyclability rate, which is 95% in their packaging regarding their progress of the commitment in the Business Plastic Initiative. Besides, you aim for Ülker's product packaging to be 100% reusable, recyclable, or compostable by the end of 2025. In addition, at Yıldız Holding and its subsidiaries, you have made significant progress towards ending single-use plastic consumption in all of your offices and social areas. We would like to hear from you about your group's vision and the practices you have to reduce plastic pollution.
Ebru Hanım, thank you very much. It's honestly a pleasure to be a part of the panel. I wish I was there in person, but this time around my schedule didn't allow me. Hopefully next time I will be there. We will be together in person. The insights shared by Sadiye Hanım have been excellent and very inspiring insights from both Abdi Ibrahim and Koç Holding colleagues. So it's been wonderful to hear them. Let me go back to your question about Yıldız Holding. I'll try to summarize Yıldız Holding's global sustainability vision and our practices supporting plastic pollution reduction globally. Sustainability currently is, and it's been a top agenda item for Yıldız Holding for the past number of years. Actually, the group is structured around the zero-waste or waste-free company vision since its initiation, since its foundational years in the 40s and 50s. And the sustainability leadership within Yıldız is not locally focused, but it spans our global operations. You know, we are the parent company of Godiva and United Biscuits and Ülker and so on and so forth. So having our core business in snacking, mainly confectionery and biscuits, and also other large-scale food and retail operations in Turkey, as well as some private equity operations, including the packaging film producer, the subject is of utmost importance for us. When we put Yıldız Holding in numbers, in that sense, globally we're serving 100 consumers in 130 countries in a geography of 4 billion and representing 350 brands, holding the number 2 position in biscuits and number 7 in chocolates. Thus, we do have manufacturing operations in 46 locations, half of which are outside of Turkey, and working with thousands of farmers and suppliers in Turkey and around the world, which in a sense requires us to structure our sustainability efforts in a manner to both eliminate the ESG risks for Yıldız Holding and its subsidiaries in all the geographies that we're operating in, but also with a holistic viewpoint, engaging all of the stakeholders to make a positive impact. So this year, we revised our sustainability targets and our strategy, and recently we actually have communicated them internally and externally, focusing on 3 areas. So we are working for the future of the planet on one arena. We also said that we are getting stronger across the value chain with our stakeholders, and also we are inspiring the future with purpose-driven products and innovative business models. And With these three focus areas, we updated the ESG strategy and our specific targets. And today's topic, which is the reduction of plastic pollution, 100% overlaps with our number one focus area, which is working for the future of the planet. And here our goal is to minimize the environmental impact of our operations globally, but also enabling the renewal of the natural resources across the entire value chain. Essentially, the idea is to go beyond reducing our impact, but we have to renew and improve the resources, which in a sense involves both regenerative agricultural practices, minimizing food and packaging waste, and reuse and the use of recyclable materials in the packaging processes. So within this context, we said that we aim to ensure that globally all of the Yıldız Holding affiliates, our plastic packaging will be recyclable, reusable, or compostable by 2030 on a global basis. And within the context of this specific target, I mean, obviously the anti-plastic preference of the consumer community is an undeniable situation globally, with the concerns over marine plastic pollution, microplastic pollution, more widely speaking, which is obviously leading to a wide range of corporate commitments, including mainly FMCG companies like ourselves, food, personal care, and packaging companies, as well as NGO efforts such as the Business Plastics Initiative. On the other hand, though, there is a dichotomy in the food industry and also a similar situation with the pharmaceuticals and personal care and so on and so forth, that flexible plastic packaging plays an important role since it protects food throughout the supply chain by creating a customized barrier protection there. So the usage of flexible plastic packaging on one side extends the shelf life and reduces the risk of food waste, which is also critical from a stance of food supply security. But on the other hand, we have to take care of the means for eliminating the plastic pollution. Thus it brings us to, rather than moving away from plastic entirely, the aim is improving the eco-design of the flexible plastic packaging of our products, notably to make it 100% recyclable or using recycled and or bio-based content where it's possible. Based on such insights, Yıldız Holding and our group companies have made several commitments to the Business Plastics Initiative. One being increasing the collaboration and synergy among our group companies by launching a working group and monitoring the progress of our plastic commitments. And with 16 companies of Yıldız Holding, we have structured a working group, and within this working group, we have already met our 1,000 tons plastics usage reduction target, which was an aim for March 2023 timeframe, and we were able to meet it by the end of 2021, and we are continuing to build on top of it. As of September 2022, we reduced 1,165 tons of plastics from our operations within the target companies within Yıldız Group. Within Ülker, the recycled plastics usage percentage is around 42% now. And in terms of eliminating PVC from our operations, we are diligently focusing on it. The second commitment we have made, going back to your note at the beginning, was that Ülker product packaging is going to be 100% reusable, recyclable, and compostable by the end of 2025. So Ülker will be the leading entity within our group for the 100% recyclability effort. And on a global basis, our group will be 100% recyclable, compostable by end of 2030. During the past few years, Ülker reduced the use of plastic in packaging year over year. And we are transforming all our plastic packaging into recyclable or recycle ready whenever it's possible. in order to meet our targets. The other commitment we have made was eliminating the consumption of single-use plastics in all offices and social areas of Yıldız Holding by the end of 2022. Thus, we removed all disposable cups and eliminating single-use plastic consumption across the board. We have removed it from cafeterias and social areas, and awareness studies are being continued across the board in all of our office locations or factories and so on and so forth. And PVC will be completely eliminated from our snacking group by the end of 2023, which is extremely important for us. So all in all, as part of Yıldız's global sustainability strategy, we're concentrating our efforts to contribute to the reduction of plastics pollution. And obviously, we are very proud to be a part of the combined efforts to make the Business Plastics Initiative a major success.
Thank you, Fezel Hanım. It is interesting that you are operating in 130 countries, and the efforts that you have taken on plastic reduction are being also reflected all these countries. Congratulations on that. Let me continue with Ebru Hanım, and final words I will be giving to Oğuzcan Bey. Ebru Hanım, so we are here at COP27, eagerly expecting a robust approach to tackling climate change. It was a pleasure to see Koç Holding has committed to become carbon neutral by 2050, and we are aware that sustainability is a very interconnected issue. How do you think your overall ambition to reduce plastic within the value chain of your group companies feeds into your overall carbon neutrality target?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think having this conversation at COP27 is especially important and exciting because it makes it easier to observe the urgency and the need to take action. In 2021, as you mentioned, in order to, in line with this urgency and to prepare for the Green Deal, we announced our carbon neutrality target by 2050. And in March 2021, in our annual report, we also shared with our stakeholders our short and midterm targets, reducing our Scope 1 and 2 emissions by 27% in 2030 and by 49% in 2040. In order to reach these objectives, we also initiated a central program called Carbon Transition Program, where we include all our group companies so that we can together reach the targets and initiate and start the initiatives. Of course, I mentioned Scope 1 and 2 targets, but as we know, Scope 3 is very important in achieving targets. We know that the real impact of companies of private sector is in Scope 3, ranging from 85% to 95%, sometimes even 99.9%, I've heard, for some sectors. So working on upstream and downstream value chain is indispensable if we are committing to reduce our environmental footprint. When thinking of emissions, of course, the first initiatives that come to mind is energy efficiency and renewable energy, which is true. But I want to make one addition to that. According to Ellen MacArthur Foundation, this is only half of the story. These initiatives in energy efficiency and renewable energy address 55% of the emissions. The remaining 45% is going to come from circular economy. So under circular economy, of course, eliminating plastic is a very important item. Also at Koç Holding, we recently launched our circular economy project under carbon transition program, which we hope is going to help us deliver results on eliminating plastics. Let me give one example from a group company, Ford Otosan, our company in automotive sector. They are committed to using 20% recycled or recyclable materials in their production by 2025. And in order to achieve that goal, they initiated a project called Recube, which is reuse, reduce, and recycle. They aim to use 6,000 tons of recycled material in their vehicles. Another example from Ford Otosan. Again, we know electrification is very important in the automotive sector. It's the future. It has gained great momentum. But what happens with the batteries is another challenge we need to solve. Ford Otosan is now taking part in a Horizon 2020 project to create a circular economy model for EV batteries. So these are really exciting initiatives that we can believe that there will be something else than business as usual. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to share our examples. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ebru Hanım. It's been really inspiring. Thank you so much. Oğuzcan Bey, last question. So there is very tight competition in the pharmaceutical sector globally. On the other hand, the sector is subject to very strict legal and regulations and legislation. What are the supports you expect from policymakers, especially for plastic issues in the environmental field, to increase the competitiveness and create some opportunities of the Turkish pharmaceutical industry on the global scale? Just in 3 minutes, no, 3.
Everyone, I'm going to summarize the. Actually, in the pharmaceutical industry, we certainly believe that sustainability will bring us a competitive edge against our competitors globally, because in the markets we penetrate, or in the existing markets, we all have our global competitors, and they all say what needs to be said conventionally. So we need to differentiate our company, and one of the leverage we can use is sustainability, of course. Therefore, in our industry, we have actually 3 stakeholders, important public stakeholders. The first one is Ministry of Health, and the second one is Ministry of Environment, of course, and the third one is Turkish Pharmaceutical and Medical Devices Authority. I have many examples, but the first one is, of course, the recollection side, because the circularity in pharmaceutical industry is very low. Because of the classification of the waste of our industry, it's incinerated. Therefore, we need to improve that part of our industry. So we need to separate the valuable waste from medicine and recycle it and use it in the other industries, not in the pharma, of course, because the main reason behind this regulation is the toxicity concerns. So the primary package is touching upon the medicine inside, so they don't want us to melt and reuse again in the pharma, but of course we can use it in the other industries. And there are lots of other examples, but removing leaflets from the boxes globally, and using and taking advantage of the digitalization, we need of course support from the government side, and of course remove the plastic parts such as spoon and drinking cups from our medicines. We also need regulatory change. All in all, to this end, since pharma's major stakeholder is government, we definitely need the support of government in terms of catching our carbon neutrality and carbon emission targets.
Thank you, Oğuzcan Bey. So I thank you all being here, and also our panelists being here and also online. You know, Business Plastic Initiative is very important, and the size, yes, we have 52 signatories, but it is very important that we need to expand that initiative within the other companies. So whoever is here other than our signatories, please try to understand our initiatives and try please to be the part of that, because with all our commitments, also our efforts, I think we will be able to help Turkey to achieve even more in plastics, because we are in a world where the competition is among the countries. And as a Turkish business world, we do have a lot of things to do. So please try to be part of it. Thank you all.